scientist here at Cargill. I work on beverage applications as well as stevia development. I wanted to share a couple of methods today that we use here in the lab that help speed product development. So the two things I hope to cover today are creating concentrated stock solutions of stevia, and then how to use those concentrated stock solutions in order to try different levels of stevia in your beverage base. So we call this technique bracketing. So those are the two things I'd like to cover today. Before we begin, I wanted to give you a little visual tour of the Cargill RD Facilities applications test kitchen here at the Minneapolis R&D Center. At this facility, we focus on beverage applications, dairy applications, convenience type applications that include soup, sauces, dressing, meals, as well as we do a lot of plant-based development. We have another facility down the road that also focuses on bakery, snacks and cereals, frying applications, meat applications, and also sensory testing. So as you can see here, I'm alone in the lab today. We're taking a lot of precautions to make sure that we're staying safe while we're continuing to support work with our customers. So rest assured, Cargill's here for you, and we're ready to help you solve problems with your applications. Okay, so let's get started on our first topic, which is making concentrated stock solutions of stevia. So we're going to aim for 0.5% stevia in water in order to dose into a base application when we get to the bracketing portion of the exercise. So in order to make our stock solutions, we're going to need to use heated water. In order to get this level of stevia into solution, you have to use about 80C, 185F, roughly, heated water in order to quickly get your stevia into solution. So in order to do that, we like to use kettles. So these are things you can get on Amazon, at the store. It's basically just a tea kettle. We like the glass versions. We tend to work in glass so as to not impart any other flavors. This kettle in particular is really nice because it has pre-programmed temperatures that you can set and forget. So on here, I'm just going to go ahead and get this situated on the base. I've got my RO water in the pitcher. I'm going to set my temperature to 185F, hit start, and let it heat up. So that's step number one. Okay, so our next step is going to be weighing up the stevia. So when we're doing this, we want to be as accurate as possible. So we are using a micro scale here that goes out to 4 digits. So I'm going to tear out my scale. I'm going to be making 200 grams of a 0.5% solution. So I'm going to weigh out 1 gram of stevia here. We like to use these metal spatulas. I mean, it's just an easy way to scoop small amounts of powder, as well as take some out if you overshoot your target. So I'm going to aim to be as precise as I can. In this case, I am weighing out Eversweet, which is our fermentation-based Reb M, Reb D sweetener. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm really quite close to 1 gram. So there we go. Okay, next step. We need to weigh up our water. Our kettle is hot. Our water is at 185F, which is over 80C. And I'm going to weigh out 199 grams of water here. Grab a little pipette. Make sure we're where we need to be. Okay. Then I'm going to put this on a stir plate. I've got my stir bar in my beaker already. I'm going to get this stirring. And then I'm going to add my Eversweet. I'm going to take a pipette and I'm going to rinse the cup. We want to make sure we get all of the stevia into the solution. It's high intensity sweetener, so a little bit goes a long way. There we go. And then I'm going to take some plastic film and I'm going to cover this so that we don't lose much to evaporation because the water is hot. So now I'm just going to let this mix for 5 minutes or so, and in this hot water, this product is going to dissolve fairly quickly. When you're determining if your solution is fully dissolved or not, you're going to want to take a look at what it looks like while you're actually mixing it. So you can see here there are still quite a few particles floating around in our hot water, which obviously means it's not fully dissolved. So you're going to let this mix until it is perfectly clear. You're not going to see even a little speck floating around in your system. Once you have that level of clarity and no white specks floating around your vessel, then you know your solution is fully dissolved. For comparison, here's another beaker of stevia. The water was not heated and we added the same amount, 1 gram of stevia to 199 grams of water for a 200 gram batch. As you can see here, this solution looks very cloudy, but it doesn't look like the other one. The other one had the little chunks floating around. This one just looks like it's mixed in, but that's just it. So this is an example of a dispersion, not something that's fully dissolved into solution. So if you see this when you're mixing and you think that, oh yeah, you know, there's no large chunks, my stevia is in solution, this is not in solution, and if you use this in your product, you're probably going to have some differences in performance because the stevia is not fully dissolved in the solution. Okay, and now we're just taking a quick peek back at our original solution with the ADC water, and you can see that now all of the particulates are gone. The solution is perfectly clear, and so now we know that we have our stevia all into solution and we can proceed to the next step. Okay, so now we have our 0.5% stock solution of EverSweet prepared, and you can make a 0.5% stock solution with any of the Viatech products, the Truvia Rev A type products. The amount of stevia you can actually get into solution depends on the glycoside itself. So Rev A, you can get much more than say Rev M. But we find that a 0.5% solution works really well for any type of benchtop screening you're going to want to do in an unsweetened or reduced sugar base. Do remember though that these are concentrated, supersaturated solutions. So watch them over, you know, the one to 3 days that you might be using them in the lab. And if you start to see any precipitation, any sedimentation at the bottom of your beaker, you're going to want to go ahead and remake your stock solution at that point in time. So the second thing I wanted to demonstrate, aside from making the stock solutions, which we just did, was putting it into practice in beverage development on the bench. So the way we like to do this is we like to use a method that we like to call bracketing. So we're going to do kind of a case study example here. Let's say a customer comes to us with a sweet tea, maybe it's 8 bricks, and they want to reduce the sugar by 50%. So they want to replace 4 bricks or 4 SEB, sucrose equivalents, in sweetness. So in order to do that, we are going to go ahead and look at kind of an upper and lower limit around 4 SEB. So for this example, I'm going to look at 3 SEB and 5 SEB. So I've got 2 beakers here set up where I'm going to put 100 ppm of stevia in one and 200 ppm of stevia in the other. So in order to do that, there's a couple of different ways to achieve it, right? You can just use a scale. So for my 100 ppm version, I'm going to need to add 5 grams of a 0.5% stock solution. So I'm just going to go ahead and weigh that up quick. Now that I've got my 5 grams weighed, I'm going to go ahead and mix it into my 100 ppm sample. And I'm gonna make sure that I rinse the cup because again, this is a concentrated stock solution. We wanna make sure we get every little bit of stevia into our sample. And then another way to do this that we sometimes use is we'll use a micro pipette. So this can be a quick and easy way to get a certain amount of material into your beverage. So in this case, I've got this set to 5 mils. So for 200 ppm, I need to add 10 grams. So 10 mils is about 10 grams. So in the case of screening, that's good enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 aliquots of 5 mils in for roughly 10 grams of material added. So this is just another technique you can use if you do have a digital micro pipette. They can come in handy. So now I've got both my beverages prepared, one with 100 ppm of Eversweet and one with 200 ppm of Eversweet. Now what I can do is I can go ahead and taste these as compared to my 8 bricks control, and I can begin to dial in sweetness intensity, looking at the different attributes, how the sweet-sour balance comes across, and then dial in what level of Eversweet I prefer. So maybe when we taste 100 ppm isn't sweet enough, and 200 ppm is too sweet. So we know we need to be somewhere in the middle. So let's split the difference. This makes for easy product development, a little bit of mixology on the bench. You can go ahead and mix them 50-50 or at whatever ratio you want. So if we want to do 50-50, like, okay, let's make a 60 gram sample here, and we are going to get targeted in at 150 ppm instead. So now we are quickly able to screen multiple levels of stevia simply by blending at different ratios to target the different concentrations of stevia and to dial in your sweetness intensity. So this is how we bracket. We used Eversweet today, but you can also use this to screen different stevias. So maybe you don't know which stevia is going to work best in your system. The Viatech product line has a number of different options against Eversweet, or maybe you're comparing it against Truvia Rev A type product, and you want to know how they all compare in your base. So you can make your stock solutions of however many stevias you want, and you can go ahead and sweeten your base material, working with a bracket to dial in the exact intensity that you're looking for. And all this can be done very, very quickly simply by using these concentrated stock solutions. I just wanted to say thanks for your time today. Cargill's high intensity sweetener R&D team continues to work hard to develop the best tasting stevia solutions, as well as tools to make development and production easier for our customers. I hope that this session was helpful and that it brings some speed to your development process. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or your Cargill contact, and we'd be happy to help. Looking forward to talking to you soon.